What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 319, Plessis versus Chimaev. Guys, we have a sick fucking card this weekend. With one of the best main events we've had arguably all year. I'm really looking forward to this main event. We also have a really good co-main event too with Aaron Pico making his UFC debut. I'm really excited for that fight as well. And we've got some pretty good bangers all across the card. So let's jump right into it, fellas. Kicking us off at flyweight for the Ultimate Fighter flyweight finale. Alibi Idris taking on Joseph Morales. Pretty good fight, pretty high level fight. Joseph Morales, a guy who's been in the UFC, had 3 fights in the UFC already before he got dropped by the promotion. Kind of got dealt an unlucky hand, Joseph Morales. Got dealt Prime Figueiredo in 2018 in his second UFC fight and got knocked out. Many such cases. Since then, he's put together some decent wins in Cage Warriors, and he's been doing really good on The Ultimate Fighter. Alibi Idris, on the other hand, squeaky clean record, 10-0, looked really good on The Ultimate Fighter as well. Obviously, they're both in the finale. I'm going with Alibi Idris. I just think he's a little bit better, and I think he's a little bit more dangerous all around. I think he's got better striking, and I think he's got more power in the striking. Joseph Morales has a good jab. He's got good fundamentals. He just doesn't have the same physicality as Alibi, in my opinion. I think Alibi can compete in the grappling with Joseph Morales, and I think he's more dangerous on the feet. I just like his finishing potential more, man. I think this could be a pretty competitive fight. I don't think Alibi's going to finish Joseph Morales particularly. Morales is a pretty tough guy, and he's only ever been finished by Davis and Figueiredo. So, you know. But I think Alibi's able to do more damage on the feet. I think he can keep himself safe in the grappling. I think he can threaten with submissions as well. I think Alibi just does more damage and wins this fight. Maybe like a 29-28. Maybe Morales gets around, gets some control time. Maybe lands a good shot. Could do. But I'm going to go with Alibi Idris. I just think he's better. I think he wins the decision here unanimously. Moving up to women's flyweight, Karine Silva taking on Dione Barbosa. Uh, guys, I'm going with Karine Silva. I I think she lost a bit of stock after she lost to Viviane Araújo, but Araújo is a fighter who's been in the UFC for a very long time and fought a lot of high level competition. Barbosa's a step down for Karine Silva comparatively. I think she should win this fight. She's got a lot of finishes. She's pretty well rounded. I think she wins this fight more often than not. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people on Dione Barbosa as an underdog, which I don't hate. I just feel like she's a little bit worse. She had a decently close fight with Miranda Maverick, but I've never been a Miranda Maverick a Miranda Maverick believer. She did have a decent performance against Rose Namajunas, but I've just never been too sold on her. And I think Karine Silva, yeah, a lot of people say decision. I think she can. I kind of think she can finish low key. Hmm. I'm gonna go with Karine Silva. I still think she's got the skill set to make a run at kind of the rankings in this division. I just think this fight here was a little bit of a wake up call, and I'm going to trust her to make the improvements necessary to win this fight. And I trust her to do that with the Fighting Nerds team. I think she'll win this fight. I think she'll probably win a decision here. I think she'll be able to do more damage, and I think she's well rounded enough to keep herself generally safe. I think she'll be driving this fight. I think she'll be the one dictating the pace and the style that this fight takes place at. You feel me? Moving up to middleweight, Nursultan Ruziboev taking on Brian Battle. At middleweight, by the way, that is important. And at middleweight, I think I'm going with Nursultan Ruziboev as a plus 150 underdog. Brian Battle, I don't think is as good at middleweight, especially because he can't miss weight and weight bully people like he does at welterweight. No disrespect. I like Brian Battle. I think Ruziboev has a good style to catch Brian Battle's kind of weird, rigid stance Brian Battle doesn't really move his head, and he is there to be hit, and he takes a lot of shots to get in and land his. But I honestly feel like Ruziboev has more power in the striking than a Brian Battle. And I like Ruziboev's straight punches. His left hand specifically is really dangerous, and I can see him pinging Brian Battle on the feet. I also don't think Brian Battle's offensive grappling will be that effective. I don't think Brian Battle's grappling's all that good. I mean, he got molested by Renat Fakretnov, and Renat Fakretnov has been shown time and time again to not be that good. Um, and Ruzabov is pretty safe defensively with the jiu-jitsu. My only gripe with him is he stays on his back and looks for stupid Kimura sweeps all the fucking time. Uh, but I don't really think Brian Battle will be able to get through the first layer takedown defense of Ruziboev. I don't think it's that bad. And I think on the feet, I like his power more. I like the way he throws shots more. Now, Brian Battle can obviously catch him, put some volume together on him. And maybe that's how he wins. But maybe he goes for, a clinch fest like he did against Randy Brown. These guys are similar framed. Ruziboev's actually a little bit taller at 6'5". Big cage, though. It's going to be hard to close that distance on Ruziboev. I feel like he's a little bit stronger physically than a Randy Brown. I feel like he's going to be hard to kind of clinch bully. And I see him catching Brian on the feet. And I've seen Brian hurt. I don't think he's got the greatest champ Brian Battle. I'm not sold on Ruziboev's durability either, but I trust in it a little bit more at middleweight than Brian Battles. So I'm going to go with Nursultan Ruziboev. What are people picking? More people are picking Brian Battle, which I expect. Hey, I like Ruziboev by TKO in this matchup, to be honest. Moving up to lightweight, Edson Barbosa taking on Drakkar Klose. Guys, I'm going with Edson Barbosa. I like the move back up to lightweight so he's not killing himself to make the weight cut anymore because he's almost 40. And they're giving him a guy who's not a young prospect at featherweight. He fought Giga Chikadze on his run in his prime, fought Bryce Mitchell, fought Lerone Murphy, fought Sadiq Yusuf. These are like young, talented guys in a lighter weight class, so they're going to be a little bit more skilled, a little bit faster a lot of the time, more often than not, than an unranked Drakkar Klose, who has not really fought a super high level of competition comparatively. I mean, Brandon Jenkins, Rafa Garcia is not that good. Joe Selecki's a bum. Joaquim Silva's okay. Joel Alvarez is the only good guy he's fought in the last couple of years, and he got destroyed. I think this is Edson Barbosa's fight to win here. Drakkar Klose is pretty well-rounded, decent grappling game. Sometimes he implements it, sometimes he doesn't. And it's just, this is one of the fights where it's like, if you give Edson Barbosa kind of like a journeyman type guy, he kills them like Billy Quarantillo. You know what I mean? I think Edson's a better striker. I think he's got more power in the hands and obviously the feet. I think he's faster than Drakkar Klose. I think Drakkar Klose's durability is a little bit suspect. I don't trust the chin too much. The only thing I see is I could see Drakkar Klose maybe landing shots by utilizing kind of the takedown threat, or I could see him maybe getting the grappling going. But I think more often than not, Edson Barbosa can find a kill shot on Drakkar Klose or hurt him at least. Especially because we got a giant reach advantage here. I can see Barbosa crippling him with the leg kicks. I'm going to go with Edson Barbosa here. I like him to win this fight by TKO. A lot of people picking by decision. I think Klose is finishable for Edson. And I hope to see a vintage Edson Barbosa TKO. That'd make my night. Moving up to lightweight, Alexander Hernandez taking on Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper, big favorite coming into this one. And I fucking hate it. This is one of these fights where I'm like, man, I could see Chase Hooper destroying Hernandez with the grappling and his ability to float on top, go from position to position, and just dominate Hernandez in the grappling. But I can also see Hernandez just beating the dog shit out of Chase Hooper on the feet. My thing is, I want to pick Chase Hooper because Alexander Hernandez, for me, in my opinion, although I think he's looked a little bit better as of late, I think he's just still, for me, too inconsistent to really trust in this spot, even as a big underdog. Because I know it was at featherweight, but losing to Damon Jackson is hideous. Okay? Losing to Bill Algeo, not the worst thing in the world, but then Bill Algeo lost a couple. So, granted, both at featherweight, but I don't love it. Hernandez trains at a good gym, trains at Factory X. No one's picking Hernandez. Man, I could see it though. I could see it. I feel like this should be like 30%. I feel like I could see Hernandez hurting Chase Hooper on the feet. Granted, I think Hooper's durability is a lot better at lightweight. I think he does have a distinct grappling advantage, uh, especially once it hits the mat. He might struggle to get Hernandez down early because he is a ball of muscle, and he's pretty athletic as well. I didn't love how Hooper looked on the feet against Jim Miller. And Hernandez beat a much better version of Jim Miller. Uh, I don't know, man. I'm going to slightly lean Chase Hooper, but I do not like this betting line. And personally, I might take a shot on Hernandez at plus 240. But I think Hooper can win more often than not, utilizing his superior grappling and his size. And I think he's going to be looking better this fight. I think he's such a young guy. He's going to be improving from fight to fight to fight. I'm going to trust him here. If he loses to Alexander Hernandez, or he's just not a prospect in this division. I don't think he'll ever be. If he loses to Hernandez in this spot, if I'm being real. Moving up to women's strawweight, Jessica Andrade taking on Lupi Godinez. Tricky one here, purely because I don't know what version of Jessica Andrade is going to show up. Generally, she looks better at strawweight, but she's just so hit and miss. On her best day, she beats Lupi Godinez, but in my opinion, I think she's a little bit washed. I think her best days are behind her, personally. And Lupi Godinez has looked good. She looked really good in her last fight against Julia Pilastri. Looked really good on the feet, really nice boxing. And, you know, that if that's coming along, that means she's going to be more and more well-rounded because her grappling game's solid. She's got a good takedown. She's got great control. She's got some decent submission skills, and if she's putting the boxing together, I think she's going to be a pretty well-rounded prospect here. Andrade, we know Andrade, strong, physical, very powerful, very dangerous, especially in this division where she's not, undersized. So I worry if Andrade shows up, Godinez could be in trouble. But I can't pick her on the off chance that she shows up. Like when we look at her last couple of fights, 2 months ago, subbed up instantly by Jasmine Jasudavicius. Lost to Natalia Silva. No shame in that. Marina Rodriguez, I didn't think she won this fight. This fight was very, very, very close and could have not gone her way. Mackenzie Dern, she beat. Good win. And Tatiana Suarez. Like, we're losing to good ladies for sure. But even before this, I think there's a couple losses before this too. Like, she got KO'd by Yan Jianan. Like, she's lost a lot lately. Is this a step down in competition? Yes. Does that mean she's gonna come in and look good? I don't know, man. I can't get there. And Lupi Godinez, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting good volume. I'm getting decent boxing, throwing in nice combination. I'm getting good wrestling, good grappling, and she does this every time. You know what I mean? She's pretty consistently solid, whereas Andrade has higher highs, but way lower lows when she competes sometimes, man. Especially that Yan Jianan fight always plays in my head when I think of Andrade. She looked like a bot in that fight. And she's been very easy to take down lately and submit. So I don't think Lupi Godinez is as good as like a Jasudavicius, but I'm going to trust her to win this fight. I think it's going to be a close fight. I'm going to go Lupi Godinez, probably like 29-28, maybe a split decision. We'll see. Moving up to middleweight, Gerald Meerschaert taking on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Guys, I know a lot of people are going to be taking Gerald Meerschaert. No, they're not. Really, I thought more people would be taking Meerschaert because the stylistics just make sense. Oleksiejczuk's a guy who really struggles with the grappling and really struggles with the submission defense. And Gerald Meerschaert, that's his whole game. But for me, I don't want to pick Meerschaert as an underdog because truthfully, it just feels too perfect. It feels too easy to pick Meerschaert to win this fight. So something's bound to go wrong. If it seems too easy most of the time, don't pick it. I think Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's obviously the much better striker. He's got good cardio, good pressure, good volume, really good boxing, and solid power. I think he can hurt Meerschaert on the feet badly. And I'm trusting in Oleksiejczuk with his time spent at Fighting Nerds and his previous fights, specifically the Kevin Holland fight. If we drop Gerald Meerschaert bad, we do not need to jump into his guard. we can get him to stand up and we can continue to land shots on him. And I'm going to trust him to do that. I think he can hurt Mearshart on the feet. And I think Mearshart really needs Oleg Zaychuk to jump into his guard to have success with the grappling, in my opinion. I don't see Mearshart getting a clean takedown out in space because I think Oleg Zaychuk's going to be the guy out in the center pressuring Mearshart. Other than vice versa, you know what I mean? I'm going to go with Oleg Zaychuk. I think he can win this fight by TKO, to be honest. Moving up to a lightweight, King Green taking on Diego Ferreira. Guys, I'm going with Diego Ferreira here. I think I'm just going to call him Bobby. It just rolls off the tongue better. I think Bobby Green, his style isn't being beneficial towards him at this age. He's a guy who relies a lot on his his reaction time, and being able to see shots coming. I think that has waned a little bit. I think the hands down, shoulder roll, reaction time style that Bobby Green has is kind of starting to cost him. I think his durability is kind of shot. He's taken an inordinate amount of damage. And I just don't think he sees shots quite the same. And if your durability is waning, you don't see shots quite the same, and your style is predominantly kind of hands down, I just don't like it, especially when you're fighting a guy in Diego Ferreira who's older than Bobby Green. But Diego Ferreira is still solid, man. He's got solid grappling, solid takedowns, solid jiu-jitsu, good scrambles. He's got very powerful hands, and he's just got solid fundamental boxing. Like he's just a solid fighter. He always has been. You know what I mean? Like competed pretty well against Grant Dawson. I know Bobby Green knocked him out, but we're not going to pretend like that's a consistent thing that Bobby Green does if him and Grant Dawson fight 100 times. You know what I mean? Lost to Grant Dawson in a pretty competitive fight. Fraud checked Mateusz Rebecki when he was like a minus 400 favorite. When Rebecki was, tearing through the division and looking like the next big thing. KO'd Michael Johnson deaded Michael Johnson bad. And we saw how Michael Johnson's been looking. So sweeping him out cold's a pretty good look. Mateusz Gamrot we lost to, And then Gregor Gillespie. Where are you, Gregor? I miss you every day. But this is a high level of comp. And a lot of the guys he loses to are very elite grapplers, which Bobby Green is not. In fact, I think Diego Ferreira has a grappling advantage here if he wants to mix it up that way, which he might do. He could do. I'm going to go Diego Ferreira. I think he's got more power. I just think Bobby Green, now when we look at his career, horrific knockout, beat Jim Miller but got hurt in this fight. Life-altering, career-ending damage against Jalen Turner. Beat Grant Dawson, good win. Got dropped by Tony Ferguson at that stage of Tony's career. Not a great look. Flatline KO'd by Drew Dober. He's just been taking big damage, so I can't pick him respectfully. So I got to go with Diego Ferreira. I think he can win the fight inside the distance. That's my pick. Opening up the main card at flyweight, Tim Elliott taking on Kai Asakura. Guys, I love Kai Asakura. I'm being candid here now. There will be bias involved. Kai Asakura is awesome. I loved watching this dude fight in Rizin. He is all action. He is all offense. Love watching the dude. Tim Elliott, also love watching the dude. Very weird style. Very herky-jerk, weird, unorthodox striking style. Great grappling. Good pressure. Good cardio. Good submission skills. And he's willing to cheat. That is important. Tim Elliott's really good. When I break down this fight, it's a tricky one because I think Tim Elliott can have success. I think he can even have success on the feet just because I don't think Kai Asakura is quite as durable at flyweight. And I think he can maybe have some success with the grappling. My problem with Tim Elliott is his style, I think, actually lends to him getting hurt bad. He's a guy who will kind of lean side to side. He'll kind of dip his head when he throws like a big shot. All that head movement down low, to the side, down like this, or being a grappler who's going to shoot takedowns, it lends to its... he's going to get kneed in the face, I think. Because Kai Asakura, man, when you talk about he might have the best knees in this division. His knees are nasty. He could throw him off the back foot. He could throw him. He can throw a nice switch knee. He can throw a nice step in knee, and he's got good fucking timing with those knees. Now, he almost caught Pantoja flush with one of those. I think it caught him a little bit on the shoulder and the neck before it hit the chin. There's a world where if that lands clean, it might hurt Pantoja bad. Like, he is very fast twitch, very dangerous, very powerful, not just with the knees, and basically everything he fucking throws. He has basically no striking defense. He's just all out offense most of the time. And that's kind of a dangerous thing for Tim Elliott, especially because I don't think Tim Elliott's going to be a guy who necessarily can operate the same way a Pantoja can, where he just kind of durability merchants his way in and hard pressures Asakura. I don't think he can do that. I think he's going to have to be respectful of what's coming back his way. And I mean, if in that case, I just think Kai Asakura picks him apart on the feet. And I think Asakura, I don't think he's a complete zero on the ground. Like, he's got decent, like, first layer takedown defense. Like, he can defend an initial shot. And he's not the worst jiu-jitsu player of all time either. Like, he's got some submissions to his game. But I think where he shines is obviously the striking. I think he's got like 13 KOs or something like that. And he has power too. I mean, even when he's not KOing guys getting the KO, he's dropping them bad. Like, he dropped Manel Kopp really fucking bad in Ryzen. Like, this guy is dangerous. And I think Tim Elliott's style, while it could benefit him in landing shots, kind of weird shots from weird angles on Kai Asakura, who's a little bit defensively irresponsible, it can also get him knocked the fuck out. So it's a little bit tricky. And my thing with Tim Elliott is he's coming off of a very long layoff. He's ancient for this division. I don't like that for him. So I got to lean Asakura. I think he's more dangerous. I think he can find the shot on the feet. I think he can time Tim Elliott on a takedown or maybe like a head bob or something and just catch him clean and hurt him bad. I'm going with Kai Asakura here. I'm still a believer in Asakura. I think he is good enough to be ranked in this division. I think he can give a lot of guys problems on the feet, particularly. I think he can beat the aging Tim Elliott here. I hope so, too. I would like to see Asakura fight more because I love watching the guy. Moving up to middleweight, Jared Cannonier taking on MVP. This one kind of there's a lot of fights where I'm a little bit torn on, decision-wise. This one, I'm really not. I think Jared Cannonier is on the downswing pretty hard. I know he got a victory in his last fight, but Gregory Rodriguez is the polar opposite striking style of a guy like MVP, who's all speed in that karate stance. He's in and out. He's got good timing, great eyes, good reaction times. He's got a real good kind of cage presence. He maintains distance very well, and I think that's going to be problems for Jared Cannonier at this point in his career. I think MVP wins this fight, and I actually think he can TKO Jared Cannonier here. Because Jared Cannonier lately, I think the chin is compromised, to say the least. He beat Gregory Rodriguez, but he got hurt very bad early in this fight. Kyle Berhalio hurt him very bad. This is a 5-round fight. This is a large accumulation of damage on a 41-year-old man. Nasruddin Imavov TKO'd him. You can argue about the stoppage all you want. What we can argue about is that he was hurt very, very bad. And even in this Marvin Vettori fight, where he beat the dog shit out of Marvin Vettori, schooled him, masterclassed him, early on in that fight, he got hurt very, very bad. And this is by Marvin Vettori. And when you look at these guys, I don't think any of these guys, besides maybe Imavov, are as technical on the feet as MVP. MVP, if you're not taking him down, is a motherfucker to beat. You need to mix this. You need to mix it up on this guy on the feet 9 times out of 10. Maybe Cannonier can get the low kicks going, but MVP is really good at seeing those because a lot of guys try and get the low kicks going on him. And if Shara Magomedov can't get the low kicks going on him, I don't know if Jared Cannonier can. Jared Cannonier has more powerful low kicks than Magomedov, but I don't know if he's got cleaner ones technically. And he could land shit on MVP. And I don't like Cannonier's game plan of trying to like clinch MVP to death. He tried to do that against Imavov, but it was 5 rounds and he kind of gassed out a little bit. That could cost him here. I just think MVP is just going to be too fast. I think he's just going to in and out straight punches down the pipe on Jared Cannonier trying to get in. And I just don't think Jared Cannonier takes a shot the same. And if MVP wobbles Jared Cannonier, MVP is not the guy you want to be hurt in front of. This guy's going to throw something fucking stupid at you, and he's probably going to finish you. I'm gonna go with MVP here in this matchup. I think he wins this fight. I wasn't certain how he was gonna look at middleweight fighting Sharon Magomedov. I thought maybe it was a one-off and he was just kind of taking the fight on short notice. But it seems like he wants to fight in this division, and he seemed locked in against Shara Bullet. So if he shows up like that, I think he can beat Jared. And when we look at his losses, Ian Gary, arguably, if you score off damage, MVP won this fight. But my thing is, Ian Gary couldn't do shit with him on the feet. He had to grapple him. He had to. Kevin Holland literally looked like a lost dog against MVP on the feet. Granted, Kevin Holland sucks. We know this. But couldn't do anything. Looked helpless. Jared Cannonier must wrestle here, I think, but he doesn't. I just don't know if he's going to. Like, he's one of these guys who has it in the bag, but he just doesn't do it when he needs to. So I can't pick him off of, he could do it. I just think more often than not he doesn't. I'm actually going to pick MVP by TKO. I think if he gets Cannonier hurt, he'll finish, honestly. Moving up to welterweight, Jeff Neal taking on Carlos Prates. This might be my favorite fight on the card. I'm really excited for this one because I think this one's going to be a car crash. A tricky one to pick, too, despite the line being a little bit wide. Both of these guys are going to get in there, and they are going to bang it out. Straight up. That's just how I see this going. Both of these guys are physical forces in the cage. Very durable guys. Huge power. It's hard. But I think I like Carlos Prates in the long game of this matchup. I like Carlos Prates because he kind of builds into fights a little bit. He kind of takes a little bit of time off, gets his reads. He'll throw some stuff out there. But he kind of tends to get, despite, being a chain smoker, he tends to get better as the fight goes on. I mean, Ian Gary was death gassed against this guy in the 5th round and got hurt super bad. This motherfucker, all he does is smoke cigarettes and drink all day, and he looked good in the 5th round. Granted, he didn't throw much that whole fight, but you know what I mean? I can see this fight kind of playing a couple of ways. I think Jeff Neal can win this fight, but I think if he does win this fight, I think he's got to do it early in the first round and a half. Because I think the later this fight goes, Jeff Neal might start to slow down a little bit. He is a very fast twitch athlete. Granted, he can go 3 rounds, but you know what I'm saying. I can see Carlos Prates starting to make reads on Jeff Neal, especially if Jeff Neal starts to get in there a little bit more, get a little bit active. Feels like he kind of has Prates up against the wall a little bit, maybe gets a little bit more aggressive. I could see Carlos Prates timing a nice step knee to the body of Jeff Neal or a nice straight punch and having it wobble Jeff Neal. I think I'm going to lean Carlos Prates here. I think Jeff Neal has the potential to upset here. I do like him as an underdog in this spot, especially because I feel like this is just going to be a swing and bang fucking kickboxing affair. And, Jeff Neal's good at those. You know what I mean? But I'm not ready to jump off the Prates bandwagon just yet. I think this is a winnable fight for him, and I think he does win this fight. I think he cooks Jeff Neal late in this fight. I think he can win this fight by like late round 2 or maybe round 3 TKO. Yeah, I'm going with Carlos Prates. This should be a banger, though. I'm really stoked for this fight. Moving up to featherweight, Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico making his UFC debut. Guys, this is a fight I have gone back and forth on. This is such a tricky fight for me to predict because this is just a super high level fight. Now, what I want to know is I couldn't find this. I Googled it. I had to listen. The Google AI tells me this fight is 5 rounds, but I don't know that for sure. I should probably dig into it a little bit more, but as of right now, I'm going off of the premise that this is a 5-round fight. Also, I think Aaron Pico was scheduled for 5 rounds against Evolov at one point. I know he was scheduled to fight Evolov, but I'm pretty sure that fight was also 5 rounds. I'm not sure. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm going off of the premise that this is a 5-round fight. If it's not, it's not. And that might sway my pick, genuinely. In 5 rounds, I think Lerone Murphy is better suited for 5 rounds. Lerone Murphy, though, in this matchup, I like him here as an underdog, but he must be on his bike in this fight. He cannot get into a boxing. I do not want him in tight boxing exchanges with Aaron Pico. He will die. Aaron Pico is very powerful, very nasty boxing, rips nasty inside hooks to the body, rips big hooks to the head, and he has good power. And sometimes Lerone Murphy lets himself kind of get into bad positions. And that's my problem with this matchup is sometimes Lerone Murphy, he can fight a very technical point kickboxing contest for 5 rounds, no problem. He did it against Josh Emmett, easy. He did it against Edson Barboza, easy. But then sometimes you'll see fights where he'll kind of get into a little boxing exchange. He'll get too cute and he'll get dropped on his ass by like a Dan Ige. If he does that against Pico, he's probably going to get slept. Because if you get dropped by Aaron Pico, the difference between Aaron Pico and Dan Ige is Aaron Pico is a very, very, very high level wrestler as well. Like he's going to smush you on the ground if you're hurt. That's my hang up here. This is a very sketchy fight here. And 2 years ago we're fighting Josh Cooleybow, and then we're getting a split decision over Gabriel Santos. So, Lerone Murphy has some high level experience, but it's not like he's super high level. Like his best win is Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's good, but he's also 40. So a lot of people want to lobby criticisms of Aaron Pico's, not having the greatest resume, or like not fighting the highest level competition, which is true. It's not as high as Lerone Murphy's, but it's not like Murphy's fought the who's who at this division. You know what I mean? Oh, it's just such a tricky one. But 5 rounds gives me more confidence in Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy, though, can't really make a mistake. Maybe in like rounds 4 and 5, we can start to get a little bit more active, engage a little bit more in the pocket, throw some nasty hooks in the pocket. Once we kind of cook this guy a little bit. But we need to play keep away with this fucking freak because this guy's a fast twitch freak athlete. And I see moments on the feet where if it's not kind of in that boxing range, Aaron Pico kind of doesn't really know what to do. And I think that's where Lerone Murphy can have success. Keeping long with the jab, keeping the kicking game going, and being ready to fucking sprawl because Aaron Pico has great takedowns. He's got a good power double. He'll switch to single. He'll chain wrestle. He is good. I think we need to wear this guy down, okay? This is a tricky one though because my god, dude, I don't know. I want to pick Lerone Murphy because I think him as an underdog is great value. He's got the better level of competition. He's better suited for 5 rounds. But sometimes, man, he just makes silly mistakes. But he didn't in this fight. If he looks like he did against the Josh Emmett game plan is very applicable to Aaron Pico in this matchup. Genuinely. Josh Emmett and Aaron Pico, good power punchers, good boxing. Aaron Pico's a way better boxer than Josh Emmett, but he doesn't have quite as much power. Josh Emmett's a decent wrestler. He can get a good takedown. Aaron Pico's probably a better pure wrestler. I say probably. He is a better pure wrestler, and he's much younger in his prime. But Aaron Pico's level of competition is not as high. So I don't know how he's going to look. And it's his debut. These Bellator guys tend to shit their pants in their debuts. I don't think Pico's going to. I don't think he's that guy who's gonna fumble his debut. He might lose, but I don't think he's gonna look like shit. I don't think he's gonna look like a patchy mix or a pit bull. I think he's gonna come out here hot, and this is gonna be a close fight. But if it is 5 rounds, I trust Lerone Murphy to just be a better point kickboxer and score in at least 3 of these rounds. I think Aaron Pico can have success. I think he can hurt Lerone Murphy. I think he can honestly finish Lerone Murphy. I think Lerone Murphy can finish him if the fight gets a little bit later and he starts to cook up that cardio a little bit. Granted, Aaron Pico's got good cardio, but he's very fast twitch. He's got a lot of power, a lot of strength with the takedowns. He explodes real hard, and you can only do that for so long. So I'm going to lean Lerone Murphy here. I think he wins this fight as an underdog. I think this is going to be a competitive fight. I think it should be a pretty fun one. But we shall see. What are people picking? Everyone's on Lerone Murphy. See, I hate this. I hate being on the people's underdog. But I get it. I get it. But Pico is legit. He is the real deal, I think. I think he is top 10 material for this division. I really do. Like, they were going to give this guy fucking Eva Love in his debut. He is good. And closing out the card at middleweight with our main event, Dricus du Plessis taking on Khamzat Chimaev. Guys, I don't know. This one, I don't know. Like, logic would tell me that Khamzat probably just gets him done, gets a submission in, like, the first couple of rounds, takes him down. I could see it. I think that's a pretty likely outcome. But man, it's just, does Hamzat Chimaev have the ability to beat plot armor? I don't know. Because Dricus has plot armor, man. He is the main character. And my thing is, everybody's so sold on Hamzat ragdolling him in round one. What if he doesn't? What if Dricus just W keys at this guy? What if he just runs into him? What if he shoots on him? He'll probably get himself Darst. I don't know. A part of me wants to pick Dricus because it'd be really funny if he won. Because my thing is, if Dricus wins this, he might actually just be the greatest middleweight of all time, just based on resume, straight up. Um, which would be hilarious. But I do think Dricus can win this fight, bro. I think he's a more powerful striker for sure. I think he's a better striker. Not even better technically, to be honest. But I think he's more effective. And the thing is, you don't need to be, more technical in the grappling or in the striking than a guy. You need to be more effective. And no one's more effective than Dricus du Plessis when it comes to just retarding into range, landing shots on people, and hurting them. And Dricus du Plessis, man, good grappler, not that bad. I know people see him like, go for the trip, go for the slams, and fucking, pull a guy on top of him. He's not the greatest grappler. He's all right though. Like a majority of his wins are by submission, believe it or not. He's got a decent submission game. He's very big. He's very strong. Oh my god, it's like, and I'll sound like a broken record. If Hamza doesn't get him out of there early, things could run away for him. Now, granted, I think Hamzat's going to be the best he's ever been here. I think he's going to take every preparation possible for this matchup to not gas out. It's 5 rounds. It's for everything. I think he's going to show up in shape. I think his cardio is going to be decent, and he can push through a hard fight. I just wonder how he looks in round 4 and 5 because I'm wondering in this fight when I'm thinking about it in my head, who's going to gas out who here? Because is Hamzat going to gas out Dricus by ragdolling him, or is Dricus going to gas out Hamzat by just staying strong? Like he gets taken down, he's going to defend, get back to his knees, get back to his feet, and make Hamzat keep wrestling him and gas him out that way. This is a very 50-50 fight, I think. I think Hamzat's really good. I want to pick Dricus. But Hamzat seems so obvious. You know what I mean? Dricus makes too many mistakes. But are they mistakes? Or are they just happy accidents? You know what I mean? Like, I can't guarantee you guys that there's not going to be a piano that falls from the ceiling and crushes Hamzat Chimaev. I can't guarantee that there's not a rake in the cage that Hamzat's going to step on and knock himself out with. You know what I mean? Maybe Dricus brings a big anvil and slams him over the head with it. I don't know what's going to happen. I think on the feet, man, I think Dricus can get some respect from Hamzat. I actually think Dricus can get Hamzat backing up. And this is kind of something that makes me want to pick Dricus because Dricus just kind of has this presence in the cage. When he goes forward, guys back up. Hamzat kind of has the same thing, but I think Hamzat on the feet is a little bit more like, let me play this technical, put my jab out there, try and land a shot on this guy coming in. And in doing so, he will back up. Dricus is just kind of like, I'm going to throw a 6-punch combination. None of it's going to land, but I'm going to get you to lean back. So you can't do anything. So you can't shoot a takedown. So you can't throw at me. Maybe Hamzat shoots under. Oh my god, this is such a high level fight. I'm actually so torn on who to pick here. I haven't been able to pick somebody this entire week. Ever since this fight was announced, I really don't know. Oh man. I've only picked against Dricus in one fight, and it was against Robert Whitaker. I've only picked against him that one time. Do I keep the streak alive here? You know what? I haven't picked too many underdogs on this card. I'm gonna pick Dricus. I think Hamzat's very live to win, but I think this fight does boil down to like a 50-50. I think this is gonna be an insanely competitive fight. Maybe Hamzat makes it look easy. If he does, it'd be super impressive. But we need Dricus to win because Hamzat is poison. If he is a champion, we will get a fight for the belt once every 2 fucking years. We need Dricus to win. I want Dricus to win. I'm gonna pick Dricus. I think he can extend this fight. I think he can be effective. I think he can get Hamzat on the back foot. I think he can defend the grappling. I think he's big enough and strong enough to defend the grappling. I think he's going to get taken down. I think he's going to get ragdolled a little bit, but I'm going to trust him to keep himself safe from the submission. I think ground and pound, I don't think Hamzat's going to finish Dricus with ground and pound. He just seems insanely durable. I think he's going to be moving the whole time. Submission, maybe. I think it's his most likely path to beat Dricus. But I'm picking Dricus. Suck my balls, dude. We have fun here. We have fun here. I'm not a sports bettor. You guys don't get charged for my premium Discord picks. This is all in good fun. I'm picking Dricus du Plessis. I think he can win this fight. And as a plus 170, I'd look like a real sharp cookie if he did win. And I think he can. I think he's live. I think he's very dangerous. Insane finishing potential from Dricus. And he could, I mean, if Hamzat death gasses, maybe Dricus could sub him. He's got a nice guillotine. He really does. I think he's got like 11 or 12 wins by submission, Dricus. If it gets in the fourth round, maybe Hamzat's chugging air a little bit from fucking ragdoll and Dricus for 20 minutes. It latches up something. Or maybe he gets caught with a big shot on the feet. I mean, Gilbert Burns hurt him. I don't know. I'm going to go with Dricus. I'm a Dricus stan. He's my GOAT. We have plot armor. We are going to submit Hamzat Chimaev in the 5th round. We are going to be the greatest middleweight of all time. But yeah, I'm going to go with Dricus. Fuck it. I think he can win this fight. I think he's being a little bit disrespected and undervalued here. So I'm going to pick him to win. Maybe Hamzat ragdolls him. Who knows? That's what makes for good fights, though. You don't really know what the fuck's going to happen. But yeah, that's it for this one, boys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. Hopefully, I'll do a recap for this card on Saturday night after the card. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.